Okay, so this is where we left off on Tuesday. Wednesday, we went and collected data. So for you guys that are at home, this is the data that I want you to enter into your spreadsheet. So what you can do is pause this video, and then the way that works is each number is a separate thing. So you type it in, hit enter. You type the next one in, 102.00, hit enter. 29, etc., etc. So what you're going to do is type each one of these numbers in. Remember that each one is a completely separate cell and a separate number, and these are your data. So again, go ahead and pause your video so that you can type this into your spreadsheet in your lab write-up tab. Okay, now that you've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to get some kind of process our data, analyze it, and then draw a graph. So let's go to instructions. So day 2 instructions are just what we did outside. This gives you an understanding of how this worked, and I would there's some information here about infiltration and the factors that affect infiltration that you're going to want to read to help you answer your questions. But let's go on to the next part. So we entered ours in, and what we want to do is, in the literature, infiltration rates are described using inches per hour. We have seconds. So we're going to need to do some dimensional analysis. But Google Sheets will do all of that for us. So I'm going to go to my lab write-up sheet, and I'm going to help you with that. Now, first of all, I've got all these time in seconds. So the first thing we need to do, we need to go to minutes, then hours, and then convert that to inches per hour. Now, I'm going to go to my... Okay, sorry about that. I'm just moving around my tabs. So, well, how do we do this? So let's look at what we would do. The first number, let me look at this, I believe is 201. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 201 seconds, okay, and I'm going to put that over 1. I'm going to do our dimensional analysis. I'm going to drop the unit that I don't want and go to minutes. There are 60 seconds in 1 minute. That's how I've set this up. So I'm going to rewrite this. These cancel. This is another way of saying 20100 divided by 60 minutes. So basically, in order to find out how many minutes, I've got to take this number and divide it by 60 every time, and that's going to give me my minutes. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to let Google Sheets do that for us. So I'm going to go back to my sheet. Now, we're going to go to the cell here because this is the first cell of our minute column, and we need to tell Google Sheets to do a calculation. We're not putting a number in here. We're not putting any text. This is a small amount of text. We're just going to go ahead and say, I want you to do a calculation. So we are going to put in equals. Now, what I want to do is take this number or this cell, so I'm going to click on it. Notice that it gives me the address. That is B17. I'm going to divide, which is the backslash, by 60. Enter. Look at that. It actually gave me a number. Now, it's saying, do I want to do that to all the numbers? The answer is yes, and so I'm going to populate. Now, another way that we could have done this, I'm going to go back. You could also, once you do the calculation, do you see this little blue dot? You can actually hover over it, get the crosshairs, pull it down, and it will do this. So what it's doing here is it's going to this cell divided by 60. This one's going to this cell divided by 60. This cell divided by 60, and so on. Okay, let's do this for this side as well. Right, equals this cell divided by 60, enter. Do I want to autofill? Yes. And there we have it. So we're going to do the same thing with hours. If I go back to my hovercam, okay, if I want to convert, let's see what number I've got there real quick. If I want to take 3.35, so 3.35 minutes over 1, and I want to drop my minutes and go to hours, 60 minutes is 1 hour. Sorry about this, it's a little advertisement for the hovercam. That's another way of saying 3.35 divided by 60 hours. So again, I'm taking this number and dividing it by 60. So let's go back to our sheet. And I'm going to say equal. I'm going to tell it to do this. Go to this cell, divide by 60, enter. Autofill, yes. If yours does not say autofill, remember you can hover over this dot. Let me show you again, and you can scroll down. Let's do the same for this one. See how easy this is. I can just go to this cell, divide it by 60. Remember, you can pause this at any time when you want to stop it. Now, what we want to do next is we want to calculate inches per hour. Now, it turned out that when we did this, the water ran for 1 inch. That means inches per hour is 1 divided by hours, and that's here. So that's really easy. If inches is 1 and hours is this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say equals 1 divided by, that's 1 inch per this many hours, enter. Again, I can autofill, or I can drag the little blue dot, and there we go. Do the same here, equals 1 divided by hours, enter, and I'm going to autofill either way. All right. So now I've got inches per hour. That is a rate. Distance over time. So if you've taken physics, that makes sense. Distance over time. But I've got all these numbers. What I really want for each side is an average. What is the average rate? Well, Sheet is really good at that. It's super easy to do. If I click on this cell, hold down and drag, lift up my finger, go up here, average. Boom, there it is. And I just hit enter. I do the same here. I'm going to take this, left click, drag, go up here. This is where average is. I can do all kinds of stuff. I can sum it, average it, count it, whatever. Average, enter. So now what I have is I have an average rate for the prairie and an average rate for the control site. So we're going to make another table here. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to type prairie site. Oops. And then, so I'm going to make another table. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to put turf grass site. And then basically I'm going to create a table where I'm looking at I'll just put rates. Okay. And I'm going to put for the prairie and the rates, the units for this. Remember, if I have units, I need to put divided by that unit because that allows me to put unitless numbers in my cells. And when I do data analysis, I don't want units attached to things. So inches per hour, and this is 19.54, and this one is 6.69. What I don't want to do is put 19.54 0.54 inches per hour. Because if I put it in this cell, when we go to do the data analysis, Google Sheets will say, is it either numbers or letters? What is it? I hit return. Now, some little things that you can do here. If I want this to look more like a table, I can drag this. I can go up here, see this little thing here? This puts borders on everything. So if you like it to look like that, you can make it that. You can change the style of borders. I can make it thicker if I want. I can add color and different things to my table, but we're going to leave that at that. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is create a chart. So I'm going to stop this video, and then we'll restart the next video. We're going to take this data, we're going to graph it, and see what we find.